What is up, fighters? Today we're taking a look at the top 5 AD carries in patch 6.4. We haven't done this for a few patches, and actually a decent amount has changed. These as well are some of your comments of the ADs you guys are having success with, and for this video, just make sure you leave a comment or who your best AD carry is and why to be featured in a future video like this. Let's not waste any time, let's just hop straight into this list and start with Kalista. She is one of the few AD carries who can actually deal with assassins and bruisers a little bit easier than the rest, I guess. Basically, if they don't kill you straight away, then your kiting is so good that you can actually stay alive, and she does become a problem. She has an insane lane phase, and that is the biggest thing. Like, lane phase means more in this meta. It's more important to come out of lane ahead, and she has the damage plus like even engage with her ultimate to get herself ahead. The biggest problem though, and why she's number 5, is because if you don't do well in lane, then you're kind of gonna be useless. Like, you're very item reliant. You don't really have abilities to do damage. Well, like, they all apply from your autos anyway, and when you're behind, it's harder to get as many autos in. If you're a god with her, then it doesn't matter. You'll carry really hard. It's kind of like Draven. The more games you put in, the better you'll be. You can build more in Sterix to not die, and overall, she's a very solid choice. Let's shift our focus on to number 4, and we're going to look at Ezreal. I honestly wanted to put him a bit higher. I'm kind of biased. I love Ezreal. I think he's really good at the moment. Actually, like, all 4 of these now are top tier. He's definitely like the safe pick, I guess. You can farm from range, you have your arcane shift to avoid damage, and in team fights, he just kites, so you don't really put yourself in much danger. The reason I'm not going to put him higher is because I think it's harder to carry with him than the others. Even though if you're really good with him, then obviously you can do really well. Like, your lane phase is kind of average. Like, you're building mana regen to start with, not damage, so you're gonna fall a little bit behind. That is fine. We get like a huge 2-item power spike, but you're kind of allowing the enemy AD carry to farm up and get strong too. The best playstyle for like rolling over solo queue at the moment is just to win your lane, win it hard, take towers, group, and snowball the game. Ezreal doesn't really fit into this as much as others. Like, he kind of needs his team to carry a little early until he gets his items, and then he can kick into gear. I'm not saying you can't win your lane, because you can. I'm just saying it's a little bit harder, and the real strength of this pick is mid game. Mana immune does stack faster now, which is nice. The actual Ezreal and Iceborne nerf wasn't huge to him, so we're still in a good spot. This pick has definitely kind of sped into the meta this last patch with the change. Of course, we're going to be talking about Sivir. She actually has the highest win rate at the moment of AD carries, but you guys know I don't base this list just off win rate. This is experience and a bunch of other stuff as well. It's really too early to tell if she's going to stay at the top. Like, remember, she's been out of the meta for months, and people just have forgotten how to play against her. I've played her, I've played against her and with her a fair bit this patch, and honestly, people just don't respect your ultimate at all. Like, they stand as close as they would against a normal AD carry, but that's not how it works against a Sivir. They press a button and suddenly they're charging at you. A lot of kills are coming from that kind of thing at the moment, which won't happen as much as people get used to it. Saying that though, her ultimate is amazing whether you expect it or not. It's great for team fights. You have your spell shield, which is just OP, loads of AoE damage, and good poke as well. This meta is kind of group and team fight, and that is what Sivir wants. Group, ult, chase people down, and do a ton of AoE damage to everyone when it breaks out. I don't want to spend too long on Sivir, so let's dash on to our next pick in Lucian. When I was researching this stuff for the video, I had him first, then 4th, then 5th, and I finally settled with him in 2nd, but he could be anywhere along here. Basically, in a nutshell, my thought is he just does so much damage. He's great in lane, and I don't think he's ever a bad pick. This patch specifically though, his mobility, burst, and lane phase are really the big things. He can deal with assassins kind of by like kiting and unloading his ultimate onto their face as they run at him. That is actually a really solid way of fighting people diving onto you. His burst is also great, and most meta picks right now are kind of low health, so he stands a good chance at dueling them and bursting them quickly, or just killing them in a team fight. We've already said this, but lane phase matters more now, and I don't think there is anyone else who is better in lane than Lucian, except maybe like Misfortune or Draven, but they aren't as well rounded moving into the rest of the game. You scale with crit really well, which is probably the most important stat this season for most ADs. You have good ability damage too, and I don't know, I just think you have an answer to basically everything that someone can throw at you. He's also one of the few champions who can actually dick on Kog'Maw and the other picks on this list quite easily. I kind of just spoiled this one actually, but I think we all expected it. So yeah, we're going to shoot into our number 1 with Kog'Maw. First thing is his win rate is down this patch. It's kind of the nerf, sure, but more that people are used to playing against him now, and a lot of people are just picking him because he's OP even though they suck with him. While that is great and everything, if someone is good with Kog, then it becomes a very difficult game. You kind of have this ticking time bomb of if I don't end the game quickly, then Kog is just going to kill everything, and basically I guess the longer the game goes, the lower chance you have to win. Now obviously you can win late game against a Kog if you blow him up, but it's pretty hard, especially with his build at the moment having so many shields. But yeah, that kind of pressure to end makes people do dumb stuff. They be over aggressive and it often backfires, which makes this even worse for you. As a general pick, Kog has so much damage even in the lane phase now once he gets a few ranks in his W. He has some like self-peel with his ooze, his build path synergy is crazy, and not just offense wise either, but defense wise with his Sterix and more shields. I would honestly say this guy is the only pick or ban AD carry this patch unless you have a specific answer like a heavy dive assassin comp. There are 3 more picks that I want to talk about a little bit. Ashe is similar to Sivir, got buffs this patch and is actually really good right now. Maxing Q is now a lot of damage, plus your Runans, if you get that, lets her use the Q volley thing as an AoE, which is nuts. You have that ultimate to catch people out, which is great for solo Q. You can kite with your slow, and overall she's a very good pick right now, and I was actually tempted to put her in the top 5, but it's too soon after her changes to tell really how good she is. Twitch is another one, very similar, slowly creeping into the meta. I've put him on my underrated videos for a while now, but he's gradually getting into the meta more and more. The biggest problem he has is he sucks in lane early, like really bad, and he has no mobility against assassins. Sure, if you can catch people alone, you can basically play him like an AD carry assassin, but if their Zed or Talon or whatever gets fed, you have basically no tools to survive. Corki is the last one. He's not here because I actually think he's a better mid laner, honestly, but he's still very solid as an AD carry bot lane too. You basically have everything, like you have poke, huge burst, you're safe, and the package is a great tool to use to make nifty plays. I do honestly think he's great, but just like Graves, kind of better in another lane. Well, that wraps up this video. Remember to comment with your best and why to be featured in a future video. Like it if you did, subscribe, comment, share, but for now, everyone's favorite part of the video, I'm gonna leave you with the robots.
For the robots.